back to the podcast. We got the Sunday Swerve mofos on this one. Sitting here with Jason and Ben. Thank you guys so much for coming on the show. It's a brutal cold day here in the ATL, complete with 72 wrecks on the freeway. So nothing new here, but want to introduce you to these guys. They have been, I don't really know. We're going to find out. I'm going to find out too. But they do a Sunday Swerve, which is what originally led me to get in touch with them. And Sunday Swerve, if you don't already know, is basically a live DJ stream, which looks like you guys have been having some success lately. It seems like it's really fun. I tune in from time to time, even if I'm not available on a Sunday. I'll definitely catch it either in my news feed or maybe I'll go check it out and see what's going on. But it's very fun. It's aesthetically pleasing. I don't know who did the design. I'm going to assume it's you because you're rocking the green. And it's kind of got a little green theme. I really love your CDJs that you got there. And it all kinds of makes sense. It's good branding. It's good fun. It's good people. You got lots of good acts coming through. And it's great exposure. And it's just cool overall. I mean, I want to talk to you guys as individuals outside of this, but this is definitely something that I'm interested in, we're interested in, and I'd love to hear kind of how it started, how you guys met, and then kind of, where you're headed. I mean, gosh, I've seen some like destinations you guys are going to, and, I've seen other, what is it? Beatport does some really cool
Circle.
Yeah, I've seen like people DJing on mountaintops with drones flying around and shit. And I know that's in the back of you guys' mind.
We already have one.
Shit. Fuck yeah.
Yep.
Nice. So, Jason, let's start with you. Where does this all come from? Where are you from? And kind of what are you doing here in Atlanta? And how did Sunday Swerve start?
Yeah. So, me personally, I've been in Atlanta most of my life, in Georgia, since I was like 5 or 6, and I guess the whole Sunday Swerve came about from my passion as a artist and DJ. I had some amazing friends introduce me to DJing, and that kind of sparked my interest in just the art and electronic music scene. And then as time went on, and I continued to perfect my craft, I wanted to get out there and be able to play for people. And I found that was kind of a little bit of a struggle to do, not really having that social network in place. And so I thought it'd be
What kind of time frames are we talking here? Like, is this something you recently started DJing?
Yeah. Or? Okay. Yeah. So I started DJing probably about 4 years ago. And then after, a couple of years of doing that, I, was really yearning to, be more involved in the network and the community. And it's just a difficult thing to do, in a late night setting. I'd, met same person like 10 times, and it was just like kind of a struggle. So
I don't want to just glaze through this important, manifestation of who you are today. I kind of am interested in also in how, why did you decide DJing was your thing? How did you get into electronic music? Like, what was inspiring? Where were you going? Who were you hearing out? And then what made you think that, hey, I can do this too?
Yeah, so I've always, been involved in music. I grew up playing the cello. I taught myself how to play guitar. So music is always something that's been a big part of my life. And ever since, maybe I was in like high school, I'd always heard like electronic music. Like you could go into like a Abercrombie and Fitch or a Hollister and hear like a little bit of electronic music. And I always liked it, but didn't really know how to figure out the name of a song because it's all, instrumental, at least back in that time. And so as I was kind of starting to find my way into some electronic music, a group of my friends, and this was maybe in like 2012 or so, started going to shows. We went to Iris, was like the first place I'd ever went to, and
Was this at Believe, or was this like one of their events?
This was at the old venue. I can't remember the name of it.
Rush Lounge.
Rush Lounge. Yeah. So this was at Rush Lounge, and loved everything about it. I actually got really into gloving for a while, and I was super into that. Yeah. And
I've
so,
definitely been hypnotized a few times.
right, right. And yeah, after a while going to some shows, meeting some people, a couple of mutual friends brought some of their mutual friends that were a lot more engaged in the scene. And one time they came over and they brought their little controller board and they were DJing. And I was like, man, I love gloving, but I would like to be the person curating the vibe for the night. And so, I borrowed one of my friend's controllers for a couple months, and then he was like, I'm going to need that back. And I was like, well, I can't not have one now that I've been sitting here DJing. So that's kind of where I started DJing. That was, around 4 years ago.
So let me recap that. You first discovered music out of Abercrombie and Fitch, and then you went to Hollister, and then started finding your way. Was this pre Shazam?
Yeah, yeah.
I love your facial expressions, man. Look at the camera real quick. Look at this dude. He looks like he just saw the Ark of the Covenant right now. I love this guy. I was just fucking around about the Abercrombie thing, but I know what you mean, man. That place, like, they definitely have those beats. But was Shazam 4 years ago? Shazam's been around for like
They've been
over
around for a
5
while.
years, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Could you imagine life before Shazam? It really kind of is a game changer. You can't hide your tracks anymore. There's just everyone in the
Right.
clubs. I do it for sure. I'll stand there. And
I was
Shazam
watching
people's
my
shit
friend
all
do
the-
it last night at Nero.
Yeah, totally. So, well, what really, when you were gloving, or I mean, I don't know if you still do, or at that time when you first got into it, what was Iris throwing down that you were digging? Was there like genres or artists that you were into, or was just everything?
Oh, so I mean, I like all music, but I actually grew up a hip hop baby. I'd listen to pretty much exclusively like rap and hip hop. So around that time was really when EDM trap started kind of being a thing. And as soon as I kind of identified what that genre was called and the artists that were playing music and producing music, that's when I kind of really like got into the zone and determined my taste of what I liked. And I remember actually seeing Buku at Iris at Rush Lounge, which was one of my favorite producers at the time. And I went there and saw him, and it was actually like probably one of the worst sets that I've ever seen. And, now I go see him, and he's super incredible. I think this was, he got really big off of a few songs.
Isn't he coming to town like soon?
Yeah, in January.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, super, super talented artist. But I think this was like one of his first shows like ever DJing. So that was a cool experience to see him and love his music so much, even though it wasn't like the best performance. But even just seeing how much he's progressed and grown, is inspirational for me. But yeah, so that's kind of like my musical taste is a little bit more experimental, trap-based bass music. But once I kind of figured out that and I knew some artists and I, was able to get a control board for myself, I started mixing and I just loved that. It was like intoxicating to be able to feel like you could control the vibe, the atmosphere of a room, even if it's at, your house or a party or at a club. So it's something that's really cool to be able to do. So that's what like really got me moving in that direction. To DJ, and I did leave gloving behind. I put in a lot of time and a lot of hours in it. I can still glove a little bit, but
I've seen him throw a good showdown every now and then, gloving.
yeah. I lacked the endurance for it, but I can still do it a little bit. So, and then DJing wise, I spent a ton of time learning, practicing. The same thing like I did with gloving. Probably sometimes maybe an unhealthy amount of time invested in it, and actually got into the position to or had some friends suggest a few DJ competitions they'd seen posted. So the first show I actually was able to play at was at a show in Charlotte. It was opening for Brightside and Ganja White Night. And that was awesome just because I, recorded a really good mix, and the guys up there put me on. It was Sam Throckmorton, who's they run Soma Entertainment up in Charlotte, and they're really amazing people. So I guess after I did that, I actually won a couple other DJ competitions that got me my first few sets. So that gave me like a lot of confidence to keep going. I got to actually, come full circle, and I got to play on the main stage at Iris before Mantis, which Paul and Taylor from Mantis are amazing people that become really close friends over the years. Um, and that's just kind of kept fueling the fire for me to want to keep doing more and more and more. But there's that crossover where, as I mentioned earlier, that you sit there and you want to get into this like network of people, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of late nights, and not always the most productive late nights. So that's where I started to move a little bit more towards trying to curate something where artists aspiring or established could have a medium, not just to perform, but also to meet other artists and network. So that's kind of where Sunday Swerve started, was with that kind of passion. It started, in my guest room, and I just had like a webcam, just a single webcam. Tried to figure out like a direct audio, because I was like, nobody's gonna watch this if it's like a recording of audio on a phone. And it just kind of, I just added like component and upgraded and tried to figure stuff out as I went along, because with live streaming, especially kind of like what we do right now, there's not really a manual or a handbook
Dude,
on
this
it.
is a lot of trial and error right here.
Exactly.
For
Yeah, that's
sure.
what I was about to say. I was about to say you could probably relate to this,
Oh, yeah.
because there's not like a good guide. I mean, I sourced from so many different places to be able to get something established that was quality enough that I was like, if I wouldn't even want to watch it, then why would anybody else? So I kept building on that, and just slowly upgraded. And then as I built my knowledge base, that's when people started taking some interest as we were starting.
Did you always have those white CDJs?
I was about to get to
Okay.
that. Yeah. So originally I had a Mix Track Pro 2, which was borrowed from my friend. Then I went to a Tractor S2, and then I got my first pair of CDJs. It was the XDJ 1000, and then a DJM 900 Nexus mixer.
The evolution of the DJ.
Right? Yeah.
It's actually funny as my brother mixes on that new mark he had now.
The mix track?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that thing still works, man.
It does. It's solid. I
Yeah.
mean, it's definitely played its role in a lot of people learning the DJ, so that's awesome. So then after I had the XDJ 1000s and the DJM 900, I've always like just loved super like clean, simplistic kind of modern styling. And I saw the white ones, limited edition, come up for sale. It was maybe like a year or two.
It had to be over 2 years
Yeah, it
ago
was like
because we've met and you had those.
Yeah, it was like I think I got maybe like 2 in a few months, 2 years in a few months maybe is when they came out. And I just got the one mixer. They sold them as a set with the 2 CDJs, and a couple months went by, and I was like, well, man, if I want to have 4 decks at some point in time, then I'm gonna
look
be
weird.
I'm gonna be out of luck on having that.
So
clean
instead
look.
of buying a new car, I'm going to get the full blown setup.
Yep. I see where my priorities lied.
It's good though, man. I like that. That's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I used to sell CDJs actually for years, and I always drooled all over those things too, man. I got those platinum ones. Any day now, I would think Pioneer is getting close to being releasing a Mark III, but I kind of hope they don't, because to be honest, the ones that they have out right now are pretty legit. They kind of do basically everything you need done. I have more questions for you, but I'm curious to both of you. And I know you haven't said anything yet, but dude, you're about to jump in here, bro.
I'll get there when I'm ready.
But let's say there was a new white CDJ Nexus 3 coming out. Is there anything you would want added to it, or could you imagine something different?
I think, like you said, I think that the equipment that is in existence right now is really solid. It really does almost everything you need. Now, there's some good competition out there that they're integrating a lot more technology. I think it'd be really awesome to not even have to plug in a flash drive. Maybe have your music on your phone and Bluetooth connection, or I know that you can now.
I think you can actually do that. I think you can. I think you just haven't tried it yet. I think you actually can record box right into the
Yeah.
CDJ's
With
from
a
the
with
phone.
a with a cable, yes, you can. Yeah. So yeah, I've done that. But I think it'd be cool to just kind of be like completely removed from having to use a wire.
I actually think you can do that too.
Can you?
Honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't done it in a long time, but I was able to do that a long time ago. I did work for Pioneer for some time as well, actually too, and I think on the top there is actually, gosh, I haven't done it in a while. Try it out.
Okay.
Look at it.
Google it.
Google that shit. Actually, you could do it right now, Jamie.
Yeah.
Pull that up, JB.
Yeah.
We'll give you some time.
Yeah. Because I mean, even from linking the CDJs, I mean, you still have to use a Ethernet cable to
Right.
link them so you can get your music pulled on each of
Right.
the CDJs there. So if that technology is there where the Bluetooth is, I need to do some more research
Which
on it.
you definitely have to give gigantic credit to the fact that stability is absolute key. And I can tell you in the history of all my DJing, the only time the CDJs have fucked up is been my fault or someone breaking them, or one time they fucked up but it was user error because we had them out in the beating sun when they like overheated. So
That is a big fear.
for the most part, CDJs are pretty tried and true. Have you ever had a failure on one before?
No.
It's like while you're playing.
No, the only inconsistency I've noticed is it's almost like what the crush filter is, where it kind of makes it distorted. Every so often, one of the decks will kind of have that in the background, and there's no effects on. It's isolated to a single CDJ, so it's something with the hardware or the firmware that does that. But a quick reboot handles it. But I've never really had anything with any CDJs that were in good working condition. They were maintained, not beat up. But yeah, I've not really had any issues with them beyond that one little bug. And I don't know even how you fix that. I know that some other people had that issue because I looked it up, and it's one of those, well, if we can't reproduce it, then we can't fix it kind of deals. But it's very, very, very sporadic. But no, I mean, no issues with the equipment. It's phenomenal.
Do you play, Ben?
I do actually. I actually just played Friday night.
Okay.
I played at this new place called what was it? Visional Studios.
Yeah, Vision Studios.
Vision Studios out in what's it called, in Chambly. It's this new really cool little venue. It's like a little warehouse. They put a huge sound system in there, way bigger than the venue. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I play pretty. I don't play as often as I used to, but definitely.
On CDJs?
Yeah.
What's your style?
Definitely like deep dub, experimental bass.
Yeah, I've noticed, I'd say you guys do a pretty good job at having bunches of different genres come through, but I do feel like the majority is more of the bass-centric kind of. When I tune in, it seems to be that, I mean, they should maybe even have a genre, weird bass.
I mean, I think it's definitely a genre.
I think it's actually really big here in Atlanta, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on why. I travel a fair amount, and I've been in love with electronic music since I was 18 years old. So anytime I'm anywhere, I want to go out and hear and look and check out what the scene is going on. And I feel like bass music is very big here and may not be in other parts of the country or maybe the world. And I'm curious why you guys think that might be.
For experimental bass in Atlanta, definitely is probably one of the biggest spots beside Denver. And I think one of the main reasons is you have such a, I don't know, it's like a hub for all music in Atlanta. And a lot of experimental bass has a little bit of that trap, hip hop vibe to it. And I mean, that's Atlanta. When you hear Atlanta, you think trap, hip hop, rap, and you can, I don't know, it's just what I hear when I think that.
True. Yeah. The dirty motherfucking South. Would you agree with that there?
Yeah. I think the Dirty South definitely has a love for bass music, just because I mean that's what hip hop is rooted in, is big fat 808 beats,
Totally. Who are some of you guys' influences musically?
I would definitely say Whittler is probably one of my biggest influences. I love everything he has produced. got me into the scene was probably people like Flostradamus and Trap like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, my first show ever was 2016 with Flostradamus and Slushy at the Tabernacle.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I went and saw two people who I probably will never want to see again, which is Carnage and Datsik, and for New Year's Eve. But that was it was, there's quite the quite. Those were probably Datsik was probably one of my other bigger influences too. Before
The sexual harassment stuff.
yeah.
So did his set suck, or you don't want to see him because of like the?
I don't think I'm gonna get the
character?
opportunity to see him again.
Did you hear he was like making a comeback now, right?
I saw the picture and the video.
Yeah, I think he was maybe attempting, but
Trying,
I don't.
but
Yeah,
society's not going to let him.
yeah, I don't think so. I think that he's.
Would you go see him for free if he played the Tabernacle next weekend?
I couldn't support him.
Damn,
Unfortunately.
that's it. Sorry, bro. Looks like it's a no-go for you, man. Do not collect $200. Do not pass go. But if you want to ghost produce for me, bro, I might give you half of that shit.
Exactly, and that's where I think he had a spot at, which is he could have still been relevant, but just not be the face of an artist and a brand.
I really was thinking he was ghost producing Brondo.
So do you guys have any like super insider info, or are you just as like in the dark as me and about the allegations and stuff?
No, I got nothing.
Nothing.
Okay, just,
outside of what's
You
on
want some more
Facebook.
water, dude?
I'm okay right now.
Okay, cool. Just holler at Jamie if you need anything, man. We got you covered. Yeah, so who, if you could, get anyone on the Swerve, who would it be? Top 3.
Oh man, that.
That's a hard question. That's like when you asked him, who are your biggest influences? It's like I don't even know if I can answer that question because there's just so many.
Did your head explode just now?
Right, yeah. No, actually, I had a notepad in my phone. I think I still have it somewhere in here of like my favorite producers and artists because people would always ask me, and that just like. It's just like an overload in my head because there's just so many incredible.
Are we saying copyright strikes are off? Because if
Right.
copyright strikes are off,
That's accurate too.
I would probably pick at least the Test Pilot set. I absolutely love everything about Test Pilot.
You know
And-
what? I just realized. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I didn't even think about this. When I run the show, I make sure and play all unreleased, unsigned, original music that no one's heard. How are you guys even getting by on Facebook? Because
So-
I've had things be flagged all the time.
A large amount of the artists we book are underground bass, the weird bass, and none of that's really ever signed. And the record labels that are don't put them in engines. So
Right.
at that point, like they're not looking for it. We're not gonna get hit with a copyright or a flag normally.
What do flags look like for you guys? I mean, certainly you get them from time to time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so through Facebook is a little bit more lenient than a YouTube, for example.
Are you guys on YouTube as well?
We are.
Yeah,
Do you
and
have
so
the following on YouTube that you do on Facebook?
no, our YouTube is much newer.
I think
and-
we just cracked 100 subs.
Yeah.
Like today or yesterday.
That's
Right.
good, though. Keep it going, man.
yeah, and so
Our YouTube is pretty way behind Facebook as well.
Yeah, so when we started our YouTube much later than we did Facebook or any of our other social media, and one of those reasons was because of the copyright issues that they would have because on Facebook we can stream, not have our stream interrupted. If there's a copyright flag, it will either mute the stream and after it's like done, it's over with, they'll mute that section of the stream.
So just a
Or-
section. So if you do an hour and
Right,
there's like a
correct.
Bruno Mars song on there, it'll just chop out that 5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Or it will just end it and we'll have to restart a new stream. And so that was a struggle that we've had with some artists really looking at like house music because it is so popular, so well known and so well represented. When we have a house performance come through, it's usually going to get hit with several copyright strikes. And so while we all love different genres of music, that's one of the reasons that we've also gravitated towards this underground bass scene is because a lot of these guys are very talented. They make their own music. They have their homies' music that they want to put on. And that kind of really is reflective of what I wanted to do when we started Sunday Swerve. I wanted to, be able to put on people that maybe aren't getting the exposure, that aren't, that are just incredibly talented, that maybe don't have a platform from which to say, this is what I'm about. So that was one of the reasons that we've also kind of gravitated in that direction. But YouTube, for example, a stream where we get no copyright strikes on Facebook. We have had several videos that they are like, you guys can't even upload this. So that's
You
one
don't
reason.
do the live stream on YouTube?
No,
No.
we're not doing the live stream.
Why?
Because of that.
Because of the copyright
Yeah,
strikes?
yeah, because they'll flag and close our account. Whereas if we upload it, they'll just let us know that we can't or we can't monetize. And so, I think that for some of these other groups like Mixmag or Circle, for example, I think Mixmag is like actually owned by like Anheuser-Busch. Don't quote me on that, but I think I looked that up. That's who currently owns the name, and so they're
That's
able.
weird.
Yeah, and so it's an investment, and so they're able to get the clearance to be able to play these tracks. Whereas if we were to do it, we'd have to pay for all the licensing to be able to live stream it.
Which that's something that you guys probably should be like looking towards.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it
At
is.
some
yeah.
point.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, it definitely is.
It's the same kind of licensing you'd need to run a club, though. So that's like $20,000-$30,000 investment.
One day, I mean, hey,
One
look,
day.
the world is your fucking oyster with this thing, and this is still new. There's not that many people actually doing it. You could do Sunday Swerve bass music, Saturday Swerve house music, and then
Every day's a Swerve day.
I mean, Atlanta is a hub. People are coming in from all over. You could start getting bigger guests, and maybe it'll cost money, but hey, I think you guys are definitely going in the right direction, and the shows are getting better and better and better. So, do they ever take your videos down?
On Facebook,
Yeah.
Facebook, we've never had anything taken down. We've had some videos that are maybe months, years old that have we've been sent a notification that something was flagged in their system, and at which point they just mute that specific section, which I think would be a great alternative for YouTube, as opposed to just saying, no, you can't do anything with it. I mean, just mute that section, or offer us an opportunity to replace that like specific section. But that's not the way it is on YouTube at the moment, at least. And so Facebook doesn't really have any policy that's like, hey, if you do this so many times, then, well, guess what? Now you're banned from doing this. Their system, I think, is a much more user-friendly, content creator-friendly version than what YouTube's got right now. And I know that for a little while there, Facebook was pretty harsh, but I think that Facebook had some sort of agreement with some of the rights holders to some of the music. And I think that like opened up a lot more opportunities. So that's like something from like a Facebook perspective. It wouldn't be that much of an endeavor for them to get clearance from these brands in order to support, the content creators. But that's something that's a little bit out of the price point for the budget that we're trying to spend at this moment.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
So-
Facebook is definitely trying to make their live platform like a what's the word here? Not a monopoly, but just if do you ever like I use Restream for this podcast, and I will restream to YouTube Live and to Mixer and to Twitch and everything all at once, and all of the other platforms let you do it. Facebook doesn't. So
Yeah,
you have
I've been gaming streaming recently, and I've been having to use OBS to
Right.
it's OBS Streamlabs,
Mhm.
and if I do Twitch first, I can get around it and go to Facebook, but otherwise I
Right.
can't really do Facebook and Twitch even at the same time.
What games you playing, dude?
Right now, it's been a lot of Minecraft and the new Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm. How you like that? Call of
Oh
Duty?
my god, it's probably the best one since like high school.
What do you think about the soundtrack? Do you like the music on there?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm enjoying it.
A friend of mine wrote the soundtrack to that and just recently won an award for best video game soundtrack. So shout out Sarah. there it is again. Second mention.
I was about to say, I remember hearing the first mention.
Yeah, did you? With
Yeah,
Abe?
I've listened to every podcast.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, yeah. That was funny. Yeah, Abe loved her. Abe was like, "Oh my God, I sent her a friend request." And, that's cool. Well, awesome, man. I'm glad to have you, dude. You got any questions for me then? If you heard every podcast, do you know my cat's name? Ziggy.
I actually forgot that.
Ziggy and Mr. Griswold Lee, man. They had all my Thanksgiving dinner the other day. Did you guys visit family for Thanksgiving or?
It was
what happened
actually
there?
my fiance's family's last holiday in town. They're moving to Portland, so we made sure to kind of enjoy some time with
Wow,
them.
okay. Yeah. You got a brother, Jeremy, right?
I do actually.
Is he
Yeah.
a DJ?
He is a very talented progressive house DJ.
Nice.
Extremely
Is he
talented.
older than you?
Younger. He's 21, 22, somewhere
Okay.
around there. You know, it all blurs together once you hit 20.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So he's doing his thing. How long's he been playing for?
It's only been about a year. He's, like I said, he's been learning on Jason's old Newmark mix track, which I learned
What up,
on.
Jeremy? We'll get you in here one day.
You should totally.
Yeah,
He would be a great
We tried to
time.
have you in here, but we just don't have the room for it right now. As you can see, I mean, I don't want him sitting right here. That'd be just.
Oh,
like,
he's way too big
don't
to be
have the
sitting
mic.
at that corner.
Yeah, we only have like 4 mics, and it costs a lot of money just to get another freaking microphone in here. Got to keep that quality up, son. But what about you? Did you go home for? Where's home for you?
Home for me is in Athens right now.
Athens, Georgia?
Yeah. After
Family lives there?
yeah, my parents live out there now. I grew up in like Gwinnett County, so
What high school did you go to?
Brookwood,
I went to Decula.
Decula.
You know where that is?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah,
I went to UGA too, man. Go Dogs.
right on.
You a
Yeah,
Dogs
Go Blue.
fan?
I am. I actually went to Georgia Southern down in Statesboro, and when I was down there, my parents were moving up to Athens. So
Cool.
so yeah, that's where home was. So yeah, had a good
I
Thanksgiving.
don't think I've ever shouted out the Dogs on the podcast. Fucking go Dogs.
Sick 'em.
Yeah, we got a LSU this weekend. Actually, is that this weekend or next?
That
I don't
is
know.
this weekend,
This
I think.
weekend. Ooh,
Yeah.
it's a big one. Anyways, we're a little off subject here, but you know what? I was curious in how you actually get the audio into your live streams. How does that work?
So right now, we're running on the back of the mixer. There's like a record out. It's RCA, so it gets a little bit of degraded audio as opposed to just a digital signal. And we're running that through an Apollo Twin audio interface. So that's how we're routing our audio, and that's on the Nexus 2. The only way that we have to do it right now. So, but on the DJM 900 Nexus 1, you can actually run from the digital out.
Oh,
on
is
the
that
mixer.
white setup 2 or 1?
What do you mean 2?
The Nexus?
It's a Nexus 2. Yeah, it's
2,
all
okay.
Nexus 2. Yeah, correct. Yeah. But on the actual like original 900 Nexus, you can pull digital like USB straight out of the mixer. But Pioneer has not released a audio driver for you to be able to do that with the Nexus 2.
That seems strange.
Right.
Have you ever used the app Pioneer DJM REC?
I have it downloaded on my phone, and I have attempted to use it one time. But
It's supposed to give you the 96K audio out of there, actually.
yeah,
And live stream as well.
But I think that is if you're going to use the phone as your streaming device,
Right,
where we
you're
didn't
not.
have to somehow finagle a phone signal into a.
Right. It is weird. What are you using as your streaming device?
Right now we're using a excuse me, a Dell computer. It's just got a i7 processor. For the video, we're running a May12 capture card.
Oh, you're actually using a computer with the webcam.
Well, we're using a computer with a capture card. So originally we were using a bunch of webcams, but with a USB connection and each hub that's on a computer, there's only so much throughput. So you're capping out. Like on my personal laptop, we could only run 2 cameras. On this desktop, we were able to do 4, sometimes 5, but it just ends up being so much throughput through and it bottlenecks the data. So we have what's called a capture card, and it basically lets you record video. Ours is an HDMI capture card. You can get SDI if that's your poison. And so we run 2 Canon G40 camcorders, which are basically like a high-end consumer, like prosumer kind of camcorder, and then a couple GoPros, and then we also have the drone that we use. But those can all be routed through the computer with a capture card. So if you think about a computer having a graphics card so you can get video out and process video, this is just to do the same thing but in reverse. So it does all the processing and heavy lifting, so it doesn't clog up the computer. So you can bring in 4 1080p quality lines, and the computer doesn't have to encode all those and and do all that work. Which was
What's the connection through that capture card through your computer? Is it US?
It's a PCI Express, so it's a card that's running directly into it. Because I mean, there's no other way that it'd be able to put that kind of data transfer through.
Well, what do you do for your your destinations? I've seen you guys in the woods and shit.
Yeah, right. right, yeah. So I actually, multi-purpose purchase, but I bought a Honda generator. It's a 2,000-watt generator. That's super quiet. It's worth every penny.
I got one of them shits too.
Yeah, and it was like I got it for like festivals so that we could have power. If we wanted to like throw a little, sound camp up, right? Yeah, and then it also serves the purpose of giving us the power that we need. And so when we go on destination, we just pop that little guy like around the corner and just run our power out.
So you bring your computer and just plug it into that, like
Yep.
normal?
The little desk setup.
We have the whole living room just like mobile, so we
Sick.
just pulled the living room out.
Couches,
of my house,
everything.
right?
So 3 cameras you're rocking?
We do so for the streams that are in the hexagon room. That's typically 2 camcorders and then 2 GoPros. So we'll have like an aerial view of the decks. We'll have the wide angle fish lens in the front. And then we'll have 2 camcorders, which are mobile. We've got some wireless transmitters for the camcorders so that we're not, held down on a line. But sometimes, and I guess that kind of goes back to the Bluetooth technology or whatever in a mixer. It's like, there's nothing that really beats a hard line in terms of reliability.
Those wireless HDMI things are a pain to start up.
Well, honestly, so the last time that we tried to use them for an actual a destination stream, they just like refused to cooperate and would not work at all. So I was like, okay, well, we just always have backup. We have hundreds of feet of HDMI. So I was like, all right, well, we'll just hardwire them. Got back home and I was like, all right, I'm figuring out what is up with these transmitters, busted out the manual, and I turned them on and they just started working immediately. So I was just like, okay, no idea. But yeah, so they're a pain in the butt trying to troubleshoot, but they're awesome to be, completely wireless for our destinations. So
What's your favorite destination so far? And have you had any technical difficulties?
Oh, the dock.
Oh yeah. yeah, that was a good one. So on the technical difficulty note, we were doing a stream from our buddy Cody Chess, who is,
Shout out Spin and Chill.
Yeah, Spin and Chill Radio. He's super awesome dude, and talking to that knowledge of how to assemble all this stuff. He's like the only other person that I've met that knows everything when I'm talking about stuff that I do. He's an amazing dude and an awesome resource. But we did a stream up in Lake Lanier from his dock, and we're running hard lines, and we were trying to drop some lines because he had a 2-story dock, and was trying to drop some lines down around the side, and they dipped in water, and then we were out half of our cables.
Yeah. We were just flipping them around what is gonna work.
Yeah.
We got it eventually.
Yeah,
but
that was not a great time.
I think I was stuck on less than a foot HDMI cable flying the drone from underneath the dock because I couldn't get up because we didn't have enough cable left over for me to watch the drone while I flew it.
We made it work. I think we ended up pushing that stream back maybe an hour and a half or something. And I was just like, oh my god.
So is that drone? It's obviously wireless, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is wireless. It runs on an HDMI cable from the back of the controller itself into the computer,
Under
any
the
other
capture card,
under the
right.
capture card, and then the drone itself. Yeah, it's completely wireless flying.
And there's no delay?
Not particularly, no.
Yeah, there's a marginal amount, but it's nothing that you'd be able to notice. But yeah,
So the audio basically goes in and that's its own thing, and then you can just flip through
Right.
Yeah.
And we can adjust the latency of the cameras so that if the like we usually run like 500 ms delay on the cameras, so that the audio usually comes in, half second faster. So that just to keep it in sync, so it doesn't look like somebody like turns up the knob and then like half a second later the audio comes on.
That's cool. That's some real technical shit. I'm sure that you've really had to like learn as this goes, as have I. But where's your next destination? That sounds.
Oh
like
man.
it's
Well,
cool.
I just kind of teased it on a Facebook post today. We have the 40-ounce crew coming through next Sunday with Providence Canyon, which is they're actually playing at Iris the night before. We've booked all of these. We've at least booked Tango before, and he hit me up, was like, "Are you guys free this weekend to have like a stream?" I'm like, "I'm not sure. Let me get back to you." The original person we had booked has had a serious family emergency, so I was like, "Yeah, we can work you in." And we're going down to Providence Canyon. There's like a Facebook post actually circling about it right now that says, "Meet Georgia's Little Grand Canyon."
So what do you do if it's pouring down rain?
We always pray for dryness,
Driftwood.
right.
So if it rains, you just.
But
do
there
it
is at this particular spot, we try to have some sort of covered alternative. So at this particular location, they do have a pavilion. So we may not get the epic drone footage that we want, but we'd still try and do the best we can with what we got to work with.
I'll say next Sunday it looks clear south, but Atlanta has rain.
Come on, you can't trust the weather more than
I
like
know.
one night out.
The weatherman in Atlanta needs to be fired.
Right.
It is just very inaccurate, I must say, or at least the app that I use on my phone, whatever weather app that I have, is always just totally off.
It's really just a random number generator.
Yeah. And it's December. December and January in Atlanta are not the best months for going outside
It's
and playing
great
volleyball.
for my birthday. It
When is your
great.
birthday, bro?
The 17th,
How old are you going to be?
26.
Oh, shit.
Going to see Of the Trees, and then Secret Recipes opening, and he's coming through to play the Swerve afterwards.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Sweet.
Yep.
it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, that's quite a few birthdays right there. My little brother's birthday is the 18th, and then J-Mac, who's our scene switcher, he's the guy that's like behind the screen running the computer. His birthday is actually on the 18th as well. So
Ooh,
Nice.
we're gonna have to
we gotta have a
get
party
into
at the
some-
house.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Who's the most technical, would you say, that you've seen so far, like on the CDJs? Do you see people really fucking up the effects and everything?
Dice Man.
So yeah, I'd say Dice Man, Miso,
Miso's.
and then Barbosa, DJ Barbosa.
I wasn't there for that, but watching it
No,
was
he-
pretty interesting.
Yeah, no, when I so there's like this like kind of scale I have in my mind of how well somebody like utilizes the equipment, because I've got it in my living room. I know almost everything that it can do. I've spent a lot of time on it. So when I hear an artist go in and they're using specific combinations of effects, like it just piques my ear because you don't hear that a lot. So anytime somebody catches my attention while we're doing a stream, I'm just like, I'm not gonna forget you. So that was Barbosa, Miso,
Okay.
and Dice Man, right?
Dice Man was
But I mean, yeah, we've
phenomenal.
seen tons and tons of amazingly talented artists, but those are some of the ones that come to mind for me in terms of utilization of the equipment.
Nice. Is miso named after a soup, or is that just like...
I actually found out the story behind his name because I hung out with all of them at Electric Forest this past year. Apparently, his original gamer tag was Miso Dizzy. He's Asian, so everybody always thinks he's named after miso soup. But he's like, no, it's just my gamer tag, Miso Dizzy.
That's funny, man. Yeah, I game every now and then. I like some Halo. That's pretty much all I play. I just love when you kill two people and the guy comes over and he's like, double kill. You're like, yes! I mean, it just gets you going, man. You just want to kill somebody else so you can hear him go triple kill. I don't know what it is. Like the primal instincts about
Slayer.
being a human. Yeah, it's like, I don't know, but I try not to play video games, as funny as they are, just because I know that I don't have a future in pro gaming.
Not with that attitude.
Yeah, I feel like the younger kids just have a jump start. And there's
Oh
no
man,
way
that
I
kid who
can-
won the Fortnite World Championship was like 17. He won $3 million.
Exactly. Like, I'm not going to be able to get in there. So, as much fun as it is, whenever I'm playing, I feel like, oh man, I could be like working on music right now, and it's like I feel guilty about it. And so, not a good use of your time if you're playing for the full 8 hours like I wish I was playing Halo, because I really could. Like, I don't get bored. Like, if you sit me down like, right now and you say, hey, you're on vacation, you don't have anything to do, well, I'll play 8 hours and
I may have
I
had
won't
one of
even
those
want to
days
eat.
today.
I don't even care.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a
Want another?
yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, no, that's one of the reasons that I don't play games is because I get way too wrapped up in it, and I will just lose so many hours. But having said that, I'm super excited for the Final Fantasy VII remake that's coming out because that's like so much nostalgia for
Games
me.
are so big now, though. I bet that game's going to be so big. Even if you were to play it 8 hours every day, it would probably take you maybe a lifetime to really like go through all the nooks and
Right,
crannies of what
right.
it is now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like games are just out of control. They have games where the you'll never go through all of it,
Right.
which I mean that's another podcast for another day. Actually, I really enjoy talking about that shit, but I kind of want to stay focused on the music right now because I'll go into a cybernetic wormhole here, and we'll be talking about that for days. I'm
Right,
sure you've
right.
probably.
Well, yeah, I mean, to switch it back to music a little bit. So instead of playing games, is that what you did with your day to day?
Might have
Okay,
a little bit. I
so
did fire up Ableton for like
okay,
an hour.
yeah. So I took today off work because I had some vacation to kill, and I literally sat on my computer working on a master for this track I've been working on like all
It's a
day.
banger.
Like you were mastering it
Yeah, yeah.
in Ableton?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you have? Do you use Ozone or something?
Yeah, I've got Ozone, but honestly, I'm trying to figure out exactly what my workflow is going to be with it, because Ozone is awesome, but it wasn't really getting me like the loudness level that I wanted.
I can tell you this. A lot of the loudness comes from the mix. But yeah, you can get loudness from other things. Sorry, but I've actually just been really researching mixing for mastering lately, which is why I just totally just like cut you off right there because I saw a guy do a tutorial just the other day actually, and he took a song that he made and he made it sound exactly like the master at the same volume. It was the same exact thing, but one of them was mixed properly and wasn't. One of them wasn't, and they were literally the same thing at the same level. And the one that was not mixed properly, he just wasn't able to get it to the same loudness as the one that wasn't mixed
Right,
properly.
right. Yeah, and so I wasn't running into that, but I was more running into this like preconception that I had that like I can't let anything like get over 0 dB.
I
But
have heard that before about Ozone that you can't.
yeah, and so I just like was playing around with Ozone for like hours and hours, and I was like, okay, well, what if I just throw some limiters on these channels and crank up the gain? And I got a better product out of that with 15 minutes than I did playing in Ozone all day. So I gotta get back on some like tutorials or something with it, but I definitely see the value in it. It's just wasn't getting me to where I needed to get in any sort of time that I needed to get there.
Yeah, it's too much shit to know, really. But that's cool. You're diving in. How long you been producing for now?
I started producing about 2 years ago, but there's been on and off. The first 3 months I was spending a ton of time learning, and then in that very beginning phase is like you get like a little discouraged because you're like at least for me personally, I have this like certain expectation of whether it's DJing or production, when somebody hears something that's reflective of me, or even Sunday Swerve, that I have a certain quality standard that I expect. And so after a few months in Ableton, I was like, oh, I just feel like I'm not getting anywhere close. And so I took a little bit of a break and then came back in. But I mean, I've probably been actually like spending regular amounts of time in Ableton for a year to a year and a half over the last 2 years. But
What kind of music? What BPM?
oh, I mean, right now, I'm making music that I'd like want to play if I were to go play a show. So 130, 145, 150. That there's honestly, BPM doesn't really matter. It's about the vibe of the track. But most of the music that I like and I could work my music into in terms of curating a set would be in those tempo ranges. So.
Are you going by Jason Wilmont? Is that your Stage name?
No.
It's hard to tell what his name is.
Okay, I see you. I see you. Yeah, my artist name is Hard to Tell. Hard, the number 2, and then tell, all one word. That came about because I've always like said it's hard to tell. Like, is a almost like dummy response to anything. So it's like somebody asks me a question, I don't know the
Makes
answer.
sense. Like, what type of music do you play? It's hard to
It's
tell.
hard to tell. Right, right. And so, I got to see that come full circle when I was playing a show. Some of my friends were out in the crowd. And
I see you keep looking over there.
I'm sorry. I'm admiring
No, it's okay.
the collection of
right?
your music.
No, I
like,
saw some
that is
Tupac
amazing.
up there. I was
That
happy
stuff is
about
cool,
that.
but my the stuff to admire is over there.
Right
Oh,
on.
I
all
didn't
that-
even notice
That's all
that.
that old shit that is probably that was my allowance for my whole life, basically.
I've
until,
got
like,
some
computer
wax in the back of my
Napster
car
came
right
out.
now. I'm trying to rip it onto my computer.
That would be really cool if one day there was like a household. I think there actually is this, Jamie. You might want to look this up. I'm curious how much it costs. Like a do-it-yourself vinyl maker. Like you make a track and you just press it to vinyl, like in your home. That would be kind of cool if you had like take your own record crates out there, and it'd be cheaper that way. I guess you just have to buy the wax. That's kind of cool. I like the old days of the music with no Shazam because DJs were more.
Had to dig through crates.
Yeah, just like maybe a little bit more unique. I mean, DJs for sure are still very unique, but a lot of it is a little oversaturated too. But when you're having to get these white label vinyls, it's like you go see that DJ and he's playing records that no one has. But now that producing music is so much easier and more prevalent, now it's easier to produce, and it's kind of like almost getting back to that kind of way. It's actually very like producer oriented these days. It's really tough to make it just DJing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's why
entirely.
I've recently started picking up production. I was like, if I ever want to make it musically, I have to produce.
Jamie too. She's how long you been producing now, Jamie?
A little under a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You guys got any? She just got some nice Christmas goodies.
what'd you
I'm
get for
jealous
Black
of.
Friday?
She got Nexus 3.
Nexus 3.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did you guys get any Black Friday deals, plugins?
Might have spent stupid money on Ozone.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice, yeah. No, I didn't get anything. Because piggybacking on there just being so much to do, even within just Ozone. I just feel like I haven't made use of everything and learned enough with the like Ableton native tools and Ozone and Serum that I really could warrant spending more money on something that I need to learn.
You say you got the Apollo Twin?
Mm-hmm.
That's where the magic is, man. Inside of those UADs.
Yep.
Woo!
Oh yeah. No, I do have the
I'll show you
plugins
some
that came
shit
with those.
here,
Yeah.
man.
All right, yeah, let's see it. But yeah, no, I didn't spend any money on any production stuff. I did buy a few things to support Sunday Swerve, some additional battery chargers because a few of
Yay.
ours got some water spilled on them. And then I got another wireless HDMI transmitter for us. So that was about the extent. I just didn't really feel like even outside of music there was that many like great deals. So I just held on to my money this year.
Totally. So I mean, like, what's next for you guys? I can see, like, if it was me doing this, I would see so many other opportunities outside of just the streaming. Like, the streamings are building and building, and I feel like now you guys are even getting probably a lot of viewership outside of Atlanta.
Our second, so it's weird. Our second biggest city is Denver, but our second biggest country is Peru.
It's great.
And that's only because we had one hardstyle producer from Peru one time, and now we have a regular audience from
Yeah,
Peru.
it's fucking awesome. Yeah, just keep it, the consistency. Like, if you just keep doing it every Sunday, you just watch. It's gonna only just grow and grow, and then you can, I mean, do stuff like fucking apparel, and then do your own shows, like,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that
and
shit.
I think the end goal is throwing shows at some point.
Yep. Yeah. Those are some of our next steps for sure. Is doing some merchandising. Like to get involved in maybe like some interviews with artists that come through, and
Interviews, you better not, man.
Yeah.
That's my territory, bro.
We'll bring them over here too.
yeah, we'll
Yeah,
send
yeah.
them your way.
All right, there we
Hey,
go.
this is your world. I'll handle the live stream for the artist, but But yeah, that merchandise, curating our own events. I know that we're working on some collaborative events with Envision Arts. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
I'm not actually. I'm very unfamiliar with a lot of shit. Some stuff you guys have said so far, I'm just like,
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
you.
that exists.
But Envision Arts, they've been throwing shows at Aisle 5 a lot.
Where is aisle 5 anyways? I can't believe I don't know.
Smack dab in the middle of Little Five.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and so Freddie, Daniel, and David are the guys that run that. They're super, super awesome people. They've been bringing some great talent here to Atlanta.
They've been messing with us
and
from
they've-
pretty much the start.
Atlanta's
they-
big, man.
yeah,
It's big.
yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
There's
and
so
s-
many little like crews of
Mm-hmm.
people. It's kind of clicky, but that's fine. That's just human nature, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that honestly, that's like a lot of the reason that we're kind of started to walk on our own path is because I'm not really a huge fan of like that clickiness. Like and I feel like the guys with like Envisioned Arts or a lot of like 40 Ounce Collective, a lot of these guys are just like cool, good people. Like it doesn't matter if I've been fucking with you for a year or a month. If you're good people, like
I like
you just
ya.
feel like fam, and that's like something that I love to death. But we're actually gonna be doing something with Envisioned Arts in January, kind of a private event. Well, maybe not private event for a
Charity
charity
event.
Charity event.
Cool.
So I don't know if I can talk about details of
I
that.
don't know if
but
we
I'm
can yet.
Yeah, but I'm super excited about it. It's gonna be cool.
Just mark your calendar for January 26th.
Cool. January 26th. Mark it up. Did we hit everything here? You got some more?
Yeah, I think I think I basically one way or another. I've talked about everything that I had kind of noted here. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, I'm excited to see what you guys do. I'm excited to support you guys. I'm going to put the link to your show in the bio here. If you guys are just watching this on Facebook, you can also check us out on iTunes. If you're just listening to us on iTunes, we're also on YouTube and Facebook. We're going to get into a lot more platforms, but for now, we're just going to stick to this. We have big plans for this podcast. I mean, we're talking virtual reality, Oculus.
I heard you talk about
Yeah,
that
yeah.
a few times. That
Yeah.
sounds amazing.
It's going down for sure, 100%. We just got to kind of like surf our way there. We can't be like, oh yeah, we're a virtual reality podcast now, and it's like you gotta ride that wave, like you guys are doing. So
Got to get the audience there.
yeah.
Yeah. Don't spread too thin.
Well, I'm excited. Keep me posted on when you guys are actually playing. I like going out and supporting people and just listening to music, man. I'm the guy. I'm a little like, I got into music through dance. I would be the dude with the baggy pants and the wristbands that would go out there and just like bust windmills on the dance
We
floor.
talking like some Jinkos or?
Oh, I was talking to Jinkos back in the day. I mean, only for a brief period of time, but yes, I did own a pair. But now looking back, it's like, wow, holy shit. Jeans, like the jean trends just went like this, and then as the time went on.
I'm not
It's
wearing
just like-
skinny jeans right now.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, like now I'm a little bit out of the middle of the dance floor. Now I'm the dude that's still out at every show, but now I'm like playing cards in the back, just nodding my head just to the good music, because you never know what you hear out, and you're experiencing it on an awesome sound system, and then anything could happen. It's just really fun.
Right.
It just costs a lot.
I always feel like there's a
Yeah,
relativity between how new you are into the scene and how
Yeah.
close you are to the rail.
Totally. And my freaking wife, Joanna, who you guys met, is always like front row. And I'm like, babe, do we really have to go into this mix right now?
It's like, don't you love me?
Yeah, totally. But thanks, guys, for coming on. I think this was awesome. Check them out, Sunday Swerve. We got Jason Wilmot, a.k.a. Hard to Tell, and Ben Wing. Is that
AKA Strawberry.
Strawberry? I like it. It's kind of like Strawberry, but it's not,
It's
'cause he
not.
plays
It's
that
Dirty
weird-
South
that
Strawberry.
experimental shit. But anyways, this was fun, man. Thanks, you guys. We'll have you back. Peace out.